If you've been thinking about leaving the US or Canada, there are two countries that come up again and again: Mexico and Colombia. Fortunately, I currently live in Mexico and spent many years in Colombia, so we're going to talk about which one actually gives you more freedom, better lifestyle, and more opportunity as an entrepreneur or expat. I've lived and worked across Latin America, and today we're breaking down the real pros and cons of both countries so that you can make the smart move for your life and for your business. For those of you that are new to this channel, it's Justin Keltner from Entrepreneur Expat. And here we help freedom-minded professionals build global lives without sacrificing comfort, income, or security. If you're serious about relocating or getting a second residency or passport, then book a call with our team at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult and we can help you get everything squared away. If you've got $1 million or more in assets, we can help you come up with a completely customized plan, understand tax implications across different countries, help you get a visa in somewhere like Mexico or like Colombia, and of course, navigate all of the red tape that comes from moving your life, your family, and your business as well. So that's entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. Let's dive into what really matters: cost, lifestyle, visas, taxes, and overall freedom. So first, of course, the cost of living. Mexico is now 20 to 40% more expensive than Colombia overall. This wasn't the case when I lived in Colombia several years ago. They were on par, or in some cases, Mexico was actually a little bit cheaper, but things have turned a little bit. There's a ton more expats just in the last 5 years that have come to call Mexico their permanent home. So if you look at a place like Mexico City, you can typically live comfortably on about $2,500 to $3,000 US per month for a single expat, versus Medellin, you're going to look at closer to around $1,800 to $2,200 a month for a similar lifestyle. Of course, Mexico still is affordable, especially when you compare it to high cost of living places like the US or Canada or Western Europe, but it's really not the bargain that used to be, especially in expat hotspots like Puerto Vallarta or in San Miguel de Allende. Now, Colombia is still a great value for your money, especially if you earn in USD. You get more apartment for less, cheaper labor, and great food at half the price. Now, there are more and more expats going to places like Medellin as well, but overall, Mexico, because of how strong its economy is, has gotten pricier and pricier. So people tend to agree that for most expats, the cost of living is going to be a little higher here. Now, in terms of quality of life, Mexico does have more mature expat communities. They've got a little bit better healthcare access. In fact, the private system is top tier and relatively inexpensive, especially when you pin it against places like Canada. In Colombia, you've got a slightly less polished infrastructure experience overall, but Medellin is world-class as a city if you're looking at that as a place to go. So there's fast internet, great co-working, and reliable transportation, including Uber in most places. Where when I lived there, the internet was still, as we say, más o menos. It was acceptable, but when the pandemic started and everybody was working from home and most of the infrastructure was based on like old cable networks, things started to get slow, right? And you would have a little bit of contention for internet, and speeds would get low and you would drop calls. It's improved a lot, and there's much better access to fiber optic internet and things like that. But if you want North American level convenience with still having that Latin flavor, then Mexico definitely wins. If you're after a little bit more creativity, adventure, and value, then Colombia kind of has the edge over Mexico. I really, really loved mountain biking in Colombia, down some pretty cool drops there, and just all of the diversity, all of the nature. It's a little bit more, I want to say, rustic. It's a little bit less developed than Mexico in a lot of places, and there isn't quite the same level of, let's say, tourist infrastructure that Mexico has, but it kind of gives Colombia a nice charm. I feel like it's a little bit underexplored when you compare it with Mexico, especially when you get into places like rural Colombia, or you look at fincas and smaller towns like Armenia, where I got to live for a little over a year as well. When you get outside of some of those major cities, both are extremely interesting, don't get me wrong, but Colombia has its own sort of special charm. So I would almost say they're kind of a tie there. Now, in terms of the climate, Mexico's diversity with their highlands, their beaches, and their small, quaint colonial towns versus Colombia's spring-like Medellin. I mean, there was never really anywhere in the world that I could say had as perfect weather like Medellin does, other than the rains. When it rains there, it's pretty crazy. But Lake Chapala, where we live now, does come pretty close. I really love Colombia's Caribbean coast as well. Obviously, there's some Caribbean options in Mexico, but it does feel a little bit more off the beaten path in Colombia, especially places like Barranquilla. Cartagena, of course, it's a tourist trap for sure, but it's just it just feels underexplored and still kind of like a different world on its own. Versus if you go to Mexico on the Caribbean side, whether that's somewhere like Cancun or Playa del Carmen, it kind of feels more like an American colony with a lot of American brands and fast food chains and hotel chains and things like that, versus truly being a world of its own. So just different strokes for different folks, right? Different flavors, if you will. Now we're going to touch on some of the visa and residency options available in each place. So Mexico is actually the more difficult of the two to be able to get residency in, but it gives you more options for longer term residency and even paths to passports, which is kind of cool. But in terms of just the bare income requirements, temporary residency does start at around $4,200 per month USD of income, or around $70,000 in savings that the consulates are requesting in order for you to be able to get a temporary residence, which is valid for 4 years. And then after those 4 years, you can turn that into a permanent residence and have a path to a passport. In Colombia, by contrast, most options short of getting married there or perhaps investing a large sum of money, over 25,000 USD, which for some people is a lot. For a lot of our clients, it's not that much, but you do have to have an actual business. Short of that, if you're just a digital nomad, there are ways to get that visa, but you're not typically put on a path to actually get a permanent residency in Colombia or a citizenship. That's kind of the difference there. So the digital nomad visa in Colombia requires $900 US per month of income minimum, and that allows up to a 2-year stay, versus Mexico's 4-year temporary residence, which is then convertible to a permanent or a citizenship. So Colombia's program is easier to get started with, and there's a lower barrier to entry, but Mexico's program is easier to actually stay in the country long term. Now we're going to touch on the taxes and the business environment in both countries. So both are going to tax residents after 183 days. Mexico taxes worldwide income if you're a resident, but there are clear treaties and systems for entrepreneurs. The other thing I'll say is that in Mexico, for the most part, expats are not taxed. There's obviously a huge difference between the letter of the law and how it's actually executed and how it's interpreted. Most expats that we know here, if they do have small businesses that are based in the US, are not really declaring or paying taxes in Mexico. They say that Mexico is one of the highest taxed countries because it's a high tax country in Latin America, but it's one of the places where the fewest people actually pay taxes. So do with that information as you will. Now, Colombia also does tax income worldwide, and their tax proposals there are becoming more aggressive, especially towards high income earners. So if you are earning a lot of money, even from overseas, like from the US or Canada or Europe, and you're planning on living in Colombia for more than 6 months a year, that is something to be aware of. In Colombia, from my own opinion and what I've seen and what I experienced there, they are much more aggressive as far as tax collection. We did absolutely have to pay taxes in Colombia. There are certainly some loopholes, especially if you're at not as high income levels, but factor in that most likely you're going to be paying a total of 20, 25, 30% on your income or more, versus perhaps less in the US. And you're always going to pay taxes to the US, or at the very least have to declare taxes in the US. Of course, consult your CPA for specific advice, or if you're interested in learning more about how to take advantage of some of these international tax treaties or get your visa in one of these countries, entrepreneurexpat.com/consult, and we can actually hook you up with some of the top experts in different countries, in Colombia, in Mexico, in the US, and they all understand international tax treaties and processes and things like that. So if you run an international business, Mexico might give you a cleaner structure and easier professional support, but Colombia's lower cost base might mean more margins if you do stay a non-resident. So maybe you're 6 months a year in one country, 6 months a year in another, or something like that. Ideally, you really want to stay out of any country's tax net, and that's what we'll help you with on that consult that we mentioned before as well. So we'll touch a little bit now on the freedom, safety, and culture. So both countries, of course, will have areas that you want to avoid. But on a day-to-day basis, the media really does exaggerate the danger. In Mexico, you do have strong personal freedoms. You're able to operate a business a little bit easier. There's also less bureaucracy compared to Western countries. Colombia has a very welcoming culture, creative energy, and vibrant cities. But the government unpredictability, specifically with perhaps the current regime that's there right now, can certainly affect business owners and in some cases even property owners. It's not unheard of that in Colombia in the past they've said, okay, you know what, you have this house, well, we want it now, so it's ours. I'm not saying that's going to happen to you. In fact, it's very unlikely to happen to foreigners, but there are very left-leaning governments there versus in Mexico, the government is a lot more centrist or right-leaning. They love money and they love foreign investment more than anything, so they want to keep you and your money here. So freedom, infrastructure, and proximity to the US, which is another thing that perhaps will help you if you are running a business where you do have to spend time going back to the US, well, Mexico might win there. And if culture, community, and adventure matter more, then Colombia's magic is very, very cool. I had a really great time in Colombia. I loved exploring there. It's a place that perhaps I would go back and live at least for a few months a year at some point in the future after maybe we're done collecting different passports from other countries as we're working on diversifying our passport portfolio between Mexico and perhaps Central Europe and South America and some other places. So really it's honestly kind of a tie, right? Mexico gives you the convenience and proximity, perhaps a little bit more of the cultural similarity, but Colombia does give you a better value for your money and there's a lot of vibrance there. And it does feel much more like you're in a totally different world. I would say if you're building your business or if you're investing in real estate, start in Mexico. Once you're established, perhaps explore Colombia as your second base, unless you're like, hey, I want to do things in Colombia that involve the local economy. Perhaps you want to export coffee there. Perhaps there's another business that you're thinking about starting, or you just visit and you really, really love it. You can absolutely be successful in either place, but I will caution you, it's definitely more important in Colombia that if you don't want to fall into that tax net, that you don't spend more than 183 days there per year. If you want help building your expat roadmap, whether that's the taxes, residency, or even property, I'll mention this as well, just to give you guys a little preview. We do have an international MLS website coming out very, very soon. We've hinted at it before, but it's going to be released to the public soon. So we're going to do some more with property there in Mexico and overseas. So we're going to let you know when that's done. But until then, if you are looking for help with any of those different things, if you are a high net worth individual, you're looking to perhaps divest from the US or Canada, go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. We can help you figure out everything A to Z. Get that free strategy call there. We thank you for being the best part of Entrepreneur Expat. Thanks in advance for giving this video a big thumbs up and also for hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell if you haven't already. We really appreciate it and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.